So logical reasoning, first we will see basics of statements, arguments, fallacies. Also, I didn't add it, like I will add later. Then we can move to Indian logic. Then further we can fully concentrate on previous year questions and we can work on aptitude and that question, data interpretation and reading comprehension. Further, we'll again review at least 10, at least 100 questions per day. Okay. Structuring an argument. Okay. What is an argument? An argument is a claim defended with reasons. It is composed of a group of statements with one or more statements, premises, supporting another statements. Conclusion. An argument is an act of presenting reasons to support an individual's position or point of view. It is not quarrel or dispute, or simply as a claim defended with reasons. A claim defended with reasons. Arguments are the basis of persuasive communication. They are combinations of statements made that are intended to change the minds of other people. All arguments have structure, which can be either deliberately designed or may be discovered through analysis. As it is simplest, an argument has premises and conclusion. A simple argument must have a conclusion and at least two premises. Premises are propositions or statements that directly support the conclusion. A conclusion is what an author or an individual wants me to believe, accept, or do. The premises of an argument is something that is put forward as a truth, but which is not proven. Although it is not proven, it is assumed to be true. Okay. It is not here. This is a beautiful car examples. This is a beautiful car. The people of this town are angry. If you want to attack another person's argument, you can challenge the truth of their premises. If you are making an argument, you should be ready to defend any of your premises. The more complex the premises, the more opportunity there is to challenge it. So if you expect a challenge, okay, as premises are building blocks of an argument, they are well be two or more premises in an argument. The conclusion or a claim is a statement with which you want the other person to agree. It is drawn from the premises of the argument, of which may be any. So its heart in here is the premises. So we need to get out. This is a beautiful car, premises. Then you should buy this car. Conclusion. The people of this town are angry, premises. The new housing should be sited elsewhere. Okay. So the conclusion here is I am making someone agree to that. So they should buy this car. So to make the conclusion stronger, I am making a premises that this is a beautiful car. So I want to make someone to move their house or build their house somewhere else, not here. So I am saying that you should build your house somewhere because the people of this town are angry. Okay, so premises is a proposition that I put forward, and conclusion is a statement that supports the premises. A useful way of spotting a conclusion is that it may well be a statement of necessity, saying what must or should happen. It may well be framed to persuade the other person to do something or make some decision. Between the conclusion and the premises are further statements which translate the premises into the conclusion. This is the reasoning process between assertion, premises to conclusion. A set of statements that leads to conclusion. That is a reasoning process. And in a formal argument uses careful logic. In informal arguments, emotional reasoning and assumptive leaps may be well used. A particular aspect of the logical argument is that inferential statements have true or false qualities. That is, they are either true or false and nothing between. Thus, a sentence can contain many statements. If we stay here, we will not only get uncomfortable, we will also start to smell. There are people interested in this car who will be here later. If we don't do something, the peasants will revolt. The same will happen. Okay. It is hot in here, so we should need to get up. Then the reasoning process. If we stay here, we will not only get uncomfortable, we will also start to smell. Okay. This car is beautiful. You should buy this car is a conclusion. Between this, there are people interested in this car who will be here later. Okay. Inferential arguments seek to prove. Thus, commands, explanations, and other statements may not directly or add to this inference, although they may be useful component of persuasion. Command, like look at this. Explanation. The people are angry because we did not listen to them. Emotion. I hate it when cars don't start. Okay. Examples. Implicit conclusion and implicit premise. An implicit conclusion is when the conclusion is not stated outright and the arguer assumes that you will know it. Okay, just like all, you have to understand through reading between lines like that. An implicit premises is when the premises is not stated outright and the arguer assumes that you will know. Okay, I don't have any examples. I will add it. So both says that conclusion is not given in implicit conclusion. Conclusion is already there. So we need to understand. We have to read between the lines to derive the conclusion. And then implicit convention and premises also there is no straight meaning. It is also again read between the lines. Okay. Indian logic. We have notes. I have notes in different. Okay. Pramana, a Sanskrit word which literally means proof and means of knowledge. The study of pramanas is called nyaya. Okay. Different type of pramanas. Okay. Upamana, 6-1. Upamana, that is comparison. That is not first. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Shabda Brahma, Anupalabdhi, Arthapatti, Upamana. Okay. PU. Pratyaksha, Upamana, Shabda Brahma, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi, then Anumana. Okay. First one, Pratyaksha Pramana. First one, Pratyaksha Pramana, that is perception through sense organs. Okay, knowledge through sense organs. Pratyaksha Pramana. Then Upamana. P-A-U. Pausa. P-A. Assumption, implication. I will go with assumption. Assumption. Yes, assumption. Pratyaksha Pramana, that is perception through sense organs. Then Anumana Pramana. Anumana. Pratyaksha Anumana. That is assumption. Then Upamana. Comparison. Then Shabda Varma. Word or verbal statement. Then Arthapatti. Assumption or implication. Then Anupalabdhi. Apprehension or non-apprehension. So this is the order. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi. Okay, we will see each one. We need to remember this. Pausa, I will like this. I will usually remember like this. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda, Arthapatti, Anupalabdhi. Okay, I will basically remember like this. According to Vedic philosophy, there are 6 pramanas. Pratyaksha. By Pratyaksha Pramana, we mean the knowledge based through perception, our sense organs. We have two types. It can be either direct or indirect to any person. First one, direct perception. It takes place through our sensory organs directly, like nose, smell, skin, touch, eyes, see, ears, sound, taste through tongue. The knowledge takes place when it is in direct contact with sensory organs. It is also known as anubhava, anubhavam, anubhava, or experience. Indirect perception happens based on smriti or memory. Yes, smriti means memory. For example, we all know that how an apple looks like. This knowledge gets feed into our memory through perception, direct perception. So whenever we see red color and round shaped fruit, we can easily associate it with apple. Our memory directly categorizes it. Okay. So through direct, it is what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we touch, and what we taste. Then through the memory, we get this knowledge. Okay. That is smriti. So memory or smriti. Anumana, assumption. Anumanam. The knowledge is gained not through any sense organs, but through assumption or anumana. We assume knowledge of what we don't see from what we see. Okay. From knowledge of what we don't see from what we see. We can assume the physical or emotional pain when we see someone crying, or we can relate fire with the smell of smoke. Okay, what we do is we smell smoke. Okay, then we infer that there is a fire. Okay, that is Anumana. Okay, through assumption. Then Upamana, comparison. Kind of knowledge we get by the assumption of similarity between the two types of knowledge. Similarity, comparison. It is basically based on comparison and not just only perception and assumption. A person knows a four-legged animal which barks. Is called a dog. Therefore, when he goes to a jungle and see a similar looking animal, he can relate that it's a wild dog, which has also four legs and claws. Well, we will give examples. This knowledge is possible when there is an earlier similarity with a particular thing, which helps the person to compare both the similar things. Okay, so either it is purely based on comparison, we must have the previous knowledge of what we see so that we can make a comparison. Okay. Either through car, bike, knowledge from him. Arthapatti, that is implication. By Arthapatti, we understand the knowledge which we get through the relation and its implication. It includes supposition, belief, and presumption. We get this type of knowledge either what we have seen or heard and by pure assumption. If a healthy, for example, if a healthy person says that he does not sleep at night with his supposition, belief, and presumption, we can think that he sleeps during the day. Okay. Without assumption, it is difficult to explain how a man can be heavily healthy without sleep. Okay, here in the example given, he is a healthy person and he says that he is not sleeping at night. He have a problem that he cannot sleep. Okay, so what we think is he may be sleeping in the day, in daylight. Okay, so what we assume or what we imply that there is no one can be healthy without sleeping for 6 hours to 8 hours. Okay, that is assumption or implication. Assumption and implication are thus a very useful theory which make logical arguments. Arthapatti, based on the apprehension of a non-existent thing, which is based on non-perception. Apprehension of non-existent thing, which is based on non-perception. Okay, if does not exist, so we like God. I cannot say it's God. Okay. For example, if there are no students in the class, as we cannot see any student in the class, at that moment we conclude that there are no students in the class. Like that. This one is evil. I would say that best example I would say is God. Air, we cannot say. We can say air. We cannot see air. But we can feel. If there is no air, we can able to see. If we get under the water, we cannot breathe. So through the knowledge of why I'm not able to see the air. Okay, but when I inside the water, I cannot breathe. I cannot feel the air. So that is Anupalabdhi. Okay. Then Shabda Pramana, through words. Mainly through verbal indication, we get lot of knowledge through verbal statements, symbols, text, or words. We either say this or write. Verbal statement must have a valid cause for its information to be true. Earlier in Indian philosophy, Vedas were considered to be the most reliable source of knowledge. But Western philosophers discarded this idea and named it context-based knowledge. In modern times, we rely we rely on books, newspapers, TV news, and to form our opinion. Okay. Structure and kinds of Anumana, that is inference, Vyapti, Hetvabhasas. Okay. Structure. In Sanskrit, inference is known as Anumana. Anumana is the second source of valid knowledge according to Nyaya Vaisika school. Nyaya Vaisika school. Anumana is a mediated indirect source of knowledge. The word Anumana is a combination of Anu means after. Anu means after and Mana which means knowledge. Okay. So we'll get the meaning of the word after knowledge. Okay. Example here, the hill is fiery because the hill is smoking. Whatever has fire has smoke. Whatever has fire has smoke. In this example, we pass from the perception of smoke in the hill to the knowledge of existence of fire in it and the ground of our previous knowledge of universal relation between smoke and fire. But it is not true in all the cases. We will see exactly later. Smoke related with fire, but smoke also related with ice. It is possible. There are too much ice. The constitute of inference. This may be explained with the help of examples given. The presence of fire and the perception of smoke. When one sees smoke on distant hill, one remembers his experience of the universal concomitance, that is Vyapti. That is Vyapti here means we can say relationship. Vyapti means relationship. Okay. Between smoke and fire and concludes that there is a fire on the distant hill. Here we have 3 points to be noted. First, there is a perception of a mark or a reason. Perception of a mark or reason. Head 2. Head 2 means reason. In a subject, hill, subject. Secondly, there are collection of relation of invariable concomitants between smoke and a fire, as we have observed in the past. Thirdly, there is an inference of the existence of an unperceived object, that is fire. We didn't see the fire. Okay, these three terms are involved in the inference. There are Pakha, Satya, Hetu. The character which is inferred is called Satya, which is fire. What we infer, we didn't see, but we infer it is. We didn't see the fire, we only see smoke. Okay, so what we infer is called Satya. The mark on the strength of which the character is inferred is the Hetu. Okay, the mark on strength of which the character is inferred. Okay, what we inferred here, why we inferred fire, on which strength of character, smoke, that is Hetu. Okay, on what? Okay, on what? The subject where the character is inferred is Paksa, that is hill. The three terms correspond to the major, minor, and the minor terms in the Aristotelian syllogism. Aristotelian syllogism. In Nyaya theory of perception, we find 5 propositions. These propositions are known as members, avayavas, of Nyaya syllogism. These 5 members of Indian syllogism called avayavas are Pradishna, proposition, Hetu, reason, Udarana, example, Upanaya, application, and Nigamana, deduction. Okay, the 5-member syllogism can be illustrated in the following way. The hill has fire, Pradishna, that is proposition. Because it has smoke, reason, Hetu. Whatever has smoke has fire, Udarana, for example, Udarana. The hill has smoke, which is invariably associated with fire. The hill has smoke. There is a smoke which is invariably associated with fire. Upanyaya, application. Therefore, the hill has fire. Nigamana. That is deduction. Pradishna is the logical statement which is to be true. Second, Hetu or reason, which states the reason for the establishment of proposition. Udarana, which the universal concomitance between the example, together with example. Here. Fourth, Upanaya or application of the universal concomitants to the present case. Nigama or conclusion drawn from the proceedings proposition. Okay. The word Vyapti means the state of pervasion. It implies a relationship between two facts, of which one is pervaded, Vyapya, and other is Privadas. Pervaded, pervades. Pervaded Vyapya and pervades Vyapka. The fact is that to pervade another when it is always accompanies with the other. The fact is said to be pervaded by another when it is accompanied by other. The examples given: smoke is pervaded by fire. Smoke is created by fire. Since it is always accompanied by fire, but while all smoky objects are fiery, all fiery objects are not smoky. For example, the red hot iron ball. We have several times seen the smoke and fire together in the kitchen, etc. And we have ascertained The invariable relationship between the two. Now we perceive smoke on the hill, so we infer fire on the hill. There cannot be smoke in the absence of fire. Okay. Because of this universal relationship between fire and the smoke, the existence of fire is necessarily to be admitted in every case of smoke. Without the definite knowledge of such relation, our inference of fire is impossible in spite of the perception of smoke. The Vyapti have two types: Samavyapti, Asamavyapti. Samavyapti and Asamavyapti. The Vyapti between terms, relationship. Vyapti means relationship. The Vyapti between terms of equal extension is called Samavyapti, or equipollent concomitants. Example: nameable and unknowable. Nameable and knowable. What can be named, what can be known. Like dog, what barks, sound we can know. A cat, sound of cat. Goat, sound of goat. Lion, sound of lion. Whatever is nameable is knowable. And again, whatever is knowable is nameable. Okay. Here we can infer either of them from another. When we know that there is a, okay, that is different cases. That is Anupalabdhi case. On the other hand, Vyapti between terms of unequal extension is called Asama Vyapti, unequal extension. In the relation of non-equivalent concomitants between the two terms, we can infer one term from another, but not vice versa. We may infer fire from smoke, but not smoke from fire. Fire is present in all cases wherever the smoke is present, but the reverse is not true. Okay. Classification of inferences. There are different types of ways of classifying inference. Inference of two kinds are Svarda and Pararda. Svarda and Pararda. This classification is a psychological classification in inference. If a person wants to infer something for himself, okay, for his own knowledge, he is inferring. It is called Anumana, for his own knowledge. Therefore, it is defined as inference for one's own conviction. The person who perceives a patch of smoke remembers there is a universal relation between smoke and fire, and finally infers that there is a fire in the hill. Now, next one. So this Svardhanumana is for our own knowledge. Now, Paradhanumana is for other person. We have to convince others. When inference is done in order to convince others, that is Paradhanumana. This inference is done when someone, after inferring for himself fire from smoke, expresses it in 5-membered syllogism to carry his conviction to another. In order to convince one's own self, either the first 3 propositions or the last 3 propositions of the Panchavayava Nyaya is sufficient. On the other hand, all the 5 propositions of Panchavayava Nyaya are necessarily in order to convince others. It is to be noted that the division of inference into Swarda and Parada is not mentioned in the status of Gautama and Kannada. It was first observed by Prasastapadain. I think that is the Bhashya and the Vaikya Sutra, I think. Okay. Okay, I will stop here. Okay. I will stop here. I have to add more from this because Indian logic, okay, Anupalabdhi examples is not given. And also, okay, orthodox view, Aisheshika, Prasati, Mimamsa, Hetu, Buddhism, Pramana, Pratyaksha, Alukya. Okay. So, okay, we stop here. Okay. We'll join again tomorrow for further uh, exploration of Indian logic, and I have to add this basic English inference logic. Okay. So we'll join again at 8 o'clock for paper 2. Thank you all. We'll join again.